Welcome to part 3 on how to play a game of Mah Jongg. The last time we left off, everyone was dealt their tiles, and now we are ready to do the Charleston. So first off, what is the Charleston? The Charleston is the process of passing unwanted tiles to the other players. I'm not sure why it's called the Charleston. Maybe it's because the popular dance, the Charleston, was really popular in the 1920s and American Mahjong became popular in the 1920s too. I don't know. So, in the Charleston, everyone is looking at the tiles that were dealt to them, and that is when you're going to start deciding on what neighborhood you might want to go for. Now, this is not a time to pick a line, but it is a time to start honing in on a neighborhood in the card. So, for example, if I was not dealt any white dragons, which also act as zeros, I'm probably not going to be thinking about the 2026 line. But if I was dealt a lot of 3 6s and 9s, or if I was dealt a lot of evens, then I might start looking at that. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look at your hand. You're going to sort your tiles, see where you're at, and then you're going to find 3 tiles that maybe do not match your hand. So what do I mean by that? Think of you have all evens, but then you have 1 or 2 odds. Maybe those odds you would want to pass. Now, one rule is you cannot pass jokers. I don't know why you would want to, but again, you cannot pass those. So everyone is going to pick 3 tiles that they do not want and face them down. So I'm going to do that for every player here. Obviously, I'm not looking at the tiles. In real life, you would be looking at the tiles. And then everyone is going to pass those tiles to the right. So the first Charleston, it goes right over left. So the first one is everybody goes to the right like this. So to the right, to the right, to the right. Now everybody has 3 new tiles and they're going to rack those and see if that helped to improve their hand. Okay, that was the first pass of the first Charleston. Now we went to the right. Now we're going to go across or over. So then we take 3 more tiles and we're going to go across. They're going to go across. And then this person is going to go across. Be really careful here because you don't want to expose any tiles, so just be really careful when you are passing. And then everyone is going to rack their tiles that they just got from the person across from them. And then we're going to do that one more time. We're going to get 3 tiles that maybe we don't want, and now we're going to pass those to the left, right? So we went to the right, we went across, and now we're going to go to the left so that after one full round of the Charleston, you will have passed to everybody at the table. So let's go ahead and do our left pass. Now, one thing I will mention that when you're doing the left pass on the first Charleston, you can do something called a blind pass. And what that means, let's pretend you have a really good hand here and you can't give up 3 tiles. You just don't have 3 you want to give up. Maybe you have 2 or maybe you have 1. Or maybe you have none. So what you can do in this instance is, let's say you can only pass 1 tile, but you have to pass 3. Well, you can do something called a blind pass, which is where you wait for the person that's going to be passing to their left, which is going to be you. So let's say this person right here is passing to the left, and those are going to be your tiles. Then you can take from those tiles that you would have gotten, and you can make it so that you have 3 tiles to pass. But the only thing is you can't look at them. So let's say I have 1 tile from my rack I want to pass, but I need to pass 3. I can take 2 tiles from the ones that were going to come to me and pass them to the person on my left. And that means I'm left with just 1 tile that was passed to me, which makes sense because I only passed 1. So this would make sure I still have the correct number of tiles. Okay, and then this person passes to the left. This person passes to the left. And now we have just completed the first round of the Charleston. Now from here, we have 2 things that we can do. If someone feels like they want to stop the Charleston, usually there is another round of the Charleston where we do 3 more passes. Anybody can stop the Charleston if they feel like they have a really good hand and they don't have any more tiles to pass. You can stop the Charleston. That does give you some clues to that person's hand, though, that maybe they're close to Mah Jongg or they just have a really good hand. If the Charleston is stopped, then you do not do the second Charleston. You still have the option of the courtesy pass with the person across from you, where you can choose to pass 0, 1, 2, or 3 tiles. Many people will not pass to the person that stopped the Charleston because what if they only need 1 or 2 tiles and you're going to do a courtesy pass with them and then maybe give them those tiles they need. But let's pretend that nobody has a great hand yet and we're going to do the second Charleston. So here we go. The second Charleston is much like the first, except it goes in reverse order. So in the first Charleston, if you remember, we went right, over, left. For the second Charleston, we're actually going to pass to the left first, then over, then to the right. So right over left the first time, and then left over right. What many people like to do on the first Charleston of the first pass of the second Charleston is they like to pass their tiles and put them in a little pyramid just to remind them that it's the second left, but I don't believe that is a rule. You have to do that. Okay, so we have everybody's going to pass 3 tiles to the left. So let's do that again. 3 tiles to the left, 3 tiles to the left, and 3 tiles to the left. Okay, so everybody passes those, and then you rack them. All right, and then everyone is going to do 3 tiles across again. Now remember, you can never pass jokers, and you are not allowed to stop the Charleston in the middle of it. So if you agree to a second Charleston, you have to go all the way through with it. Okay, so everyone now passes across. And then they rack those. And then finally, we do our last pass of the Charleston, which will be to the right. So everyone passes to the right. Now, the last pass of each of the Charlestons, you can do a blind pass, like we said before. So in this case, let's pretend I only had 2 tiles that I could pass. I didn't want to pass 3. So I can just wait for the person to my left to pass me their 3 tiles. I don't look at them, I just pick a random one, and then I give 3 to the person on my right, and then I take 2, which makes sense because I just passed 2, and now I'm taking 2. My tiles will be the right number. So now we've just completed the second Charleston. There's only 2. So in review, we went 3 tiles right, 3 tiles across, 3 tiles to the left. After that first Charleston, if someone wants to stop, they just stop it and say, I just want to start. I want to stop the Charleston. And then they do that optional pass if they choose. And then the gameplay starts. But let's say nobody wants to stop the Charleston. Then they do the second one, which is going to be the opposite direction. So left, 3 tiles over, 3 tiles to the right, and then the Charleston's finished. Then finally, there's something called an optional pass, and this is where you can negotiate with the person across from you to pass 0, 1, 2, or 3 tiles. So let's say you have 2 tiles you want to pass. You can ask them, hey, do you have 2 tiles? I have 2, and they can say, yeah, I have 2. Or they can say, no, thank you. I don't have any I can pass. So the optional pass is just that. It's optional. So both players have to agree, and both players have to agree on the number of tiles. So it could be 0, 1, 2, or 3. All right, so that is how you do the Charleston. And after that point, then you'd be ready to start the game by having East discard a tile and naming it. So 4, bam. And that's how you would start the game.